moment a security guard pressed delete on Amazon's servers. He couldn't have known that a single keystroke carried the fate of the world's richest man. But our story begins earlier with 8 hours of sleep and a golden Maui sunset.
And so then on sleep, I get 8 hours of sleep. I prioritize it, unless I'm traveling in different time zones. Sometimes it's impossible, but I am very focused on it.
Those were Jeff Bezos' own words in an interview about the new chapter of his life. He spoke of balance, of discipline, of how quiet moments and rest fuel success. At the time, no one imagined just how ironic those words would soon sound. For years, Bezos' strength was his disciplined 5 a.m. wake-ups, meditation, and a schedule engineered down to the minute. That rigid structure helped him build one of the greatest empires on Earth. But even the most flawless systems collapse when human emotion slips through the cracks. Only a month ago, Bezos and Lauren Sanchez stood on a Maui cliffside, trading vows as the setting sun wrapped the ocean in gold. The world called it the most extravagant wedding of the decade of billionaires fairy tale. Bezos, the tech titan, had married a glamorous former TV host, surrounded by Hollywood stars, Silicon Valley titans, and political power brokers. Every photo from that day screamed the same story: wealth, status, and a love that looked too perfect to fail. But history has taught us that glittering facades often hide the deepest fractures. Even fairy tales can rot from within. And now, that shining picture is crumbling into scandal one that threatens not just Bezos' marriage, but the empire he built. Guests from that wedding remember the subtle signs. Lauren lingering too long, in conversation with an Amazon executive, her eyes drifting even as Bezos spoke to investors, her phone lighting up in the middle of their vows. At the time, it seemed like harmless nerves, but in hindsight, they were the first visible cracks in the wall. For years, whispers followed Lauren, accusations of being a gold digger, a woman orbiting the powerful, and now insiders claim she may have been tied to a mysterious Amazon executive, a man described as a shadowy force in Seattle's business world. We'll call him M. Sharp-suited, strategic, unpredictably, power broker at just 42. He controls one of Amazon's most critical divisions and holds direct access to Bezos himself. His corner office on the 38th floor, with its glass walls and sweeping city views, is more than a workspace. It's a symbol of ambition and dominance. And from there, the rumors began that Lauren was seen visiting the Amazon towers for reasons that went beyond public appearances. Witnesses recall the day it all shifted. It began with a heated argument between Bezos and Lauren, not about jets or luxury spending, but something deeper: control, boundaries, and who truly set the rules in their relationship. That same day in Seattle, Bezos rushed off to a crucial board meeting. Lauren stayed behind at headquarters, scheduled to meet with Amazon's PR team about her role as the CEO's wife. But those plans changed. In the elevator, she crossed paths with M.A. greeting, a smile, and within minutes, they were seated in the executive lounge on the 37th floor. Witnesses say they sipped wine, leaned closer, and spoke in long, hushed tones. What began as polite conversation, questions about her adjusting to Bezos' world, soon slipped into something more personal. M spoke of the relentless pressure inside Amazon, the impossible task of balancing loyalty to work and a personal life that barely existed. Lauren confessed her own burdens: the constant cameras, the whispered judgments, the suffocating weight of being tied to one of the most powerful men alive. In that moment, stripped of titles, stripped of wealth, they weren't an executive and a billionaire's wife, they were simply two exhausted souls looking for refuge. Hours later, a faint, grainy camera feed allegedly caught what happened next. In the reflective glass of EMS office, it wasn't just a casual kiss. It was raw, desperate, and reckless. No thought of the fallout, no plan for the future. Just two people clinging to a fleeting moment of relief. And though the footage was blurred, the whispers it ignited were rich. Within days, rumors spread through Amazon's highest corridors like wildfire. The scandal itself wasn't just the kiss, it was how the evidence surfaced. During a late-night system audit, Tom Anderson, a 35-year-old Amazon security engineer, stumbled across the clips. At first he considered them irrelevant, a private matter, best erased. But hesitation froze him. Anderson recognized Lauren instantly. He knew EMS' reputation as a ruthless operator inside Amazon's upper ranks. He realized this wasn't just gossip, it was a potential corporate earthquake. Instead of deleting the file, Anderson saved the footage onto an encrypted drive, telling himself it was only precautionary. That single decision would later unravel his entire life, soon. Leaks trickled into the inner circle, the very same people who had cheered Bezos' vows under the Maui sunset now urged him to cut ties. To them, Lauren was no longer a glowing bride, but a liability that could tarnish his empire. But the truth was far messier. Marcus Stein, a longtime friend and heavyweight Silicon Valley investor, was among the first to confront him. "Jeff, I've watched you dominate for decades. Don't let this woman burn down everything you've built." But Bezos' reply shocked him. "Marcus, what if it's not her? What if the problem is me?" It was a startling moment of vulnerability from a man once seen as untouchable. The so-called fairy tale wedding in Mouth at $2 million villa transformed into a dreamscape with orchids flown in from the Netherlands, roses from Ecuador, lilies from New Zealand was suddenly revealed as nothing more than a fragile illusion. Behind the floral archway and ocean backdrop, among Oscar winners, Fortune 500 CEOs, political power brokers, and even royalty, cracks were already spreading. Leonardo DiCaprio arrived by private jet. Oprah Winfrey gifted a rare collection of first edition books. Even Prince Albert II of Monaco made an appearance, lending the ceremony a royal shimmer. Nothing was left to chance. 30 event planners choreographed every moment. Venetian glass tables glowed under flickering candlelight, while top bands played until sunrise. Vintage Ijojolio Dom Perignon flowed endlessly, a river of champagne marking the night. Lauren Sanchez stunned the crowd in a $450,000 Valentino gown, her train gliding over a path of imported orchids and rose petals flown in from English estates. Bezos stood beside her in a hand-tailored Armani tuxedo, the picture of wealth and control. Headlines around the world declared it the wedding of the decade, and for a fleeting moment, the story of Bezos and Sanchez looked like a flawless, modern fairy tale. But beneath the glittering stage, fractures were already forming. Guests noted Bezos' sharp expression whenever Lauren mentioned extravagant shopping sprees or spontaneous trips. Friends whispered that their conversations sometimes sounded less like affection and more like veiled arguments, mini power struggles, awkward and ill-timed for newlyweds. The biggest tension always surfaced around money. Lauren, accustomed to luxury but not the boundless wealth Bezos commanded, occasionally spoke about expenses in ways that clashed with his hyper-disciplined mindset. These small remarks piled up, laying the groundwork for deeper conflict. Still, they pressed forward, with the illusion of perfection. Together, they cruised the $500 million Flying Fox yacht, dazzled at the Met Gala, and appeared at Cannes like Hollywood royalty. Two cameras, they radiated unity. Behind closed doors, however, Bezos grew consumed with controlling the narrative, while Lauren reveled in the spotlight and her unchecked spending. For Bezos, the stakes were higher than money. His divorce from Mackenzie Scott had already cost him $38 billion and reshaped his public image. Another scandal could not only damage Amazon's trajectory but also overshadow his carefully crafted, philanthropic legacy. Every headline about Lauren's extravagance was a dagger aimed at his empire. Back from their honeymoon, the couple settled into their $165 million Beverly Hills mansion and their glass-walled Seattle penthouse, but the cracks widened. The morning they walked into Amazon headquarters together, the Seattle winter sun lit up the skyline. For Bezos, the public appearance was calculated his way of signaling that Lauren belonged in his world of corporate titans. But behind the smiles, tension simmered. That morning they had clashed over Lauren's unsanctioned use of the company's Gulfstream G650ER for a luxury trip to Switzerland. Bezos' icy tone and Lauren's stiff expression lingered as they entered the Amazon spheres. He moved on to his 3-day AI investment board meeting. Lauren left to her assistant's company, wandered into the glass atrium. There, by chance, she locked eyes with the sharp and magnetic head of Amazon's strategic partnerships, had a reputation for making anyone feel disarmed. What began as small talk over coffee quickly drifted into more personal territory. He spoke of the loneliness of leadership, the weight of decisions that no one else could truly understand. Lauren admitted that life in Bezos' shadow had stripped her of freedom, leaving her trapped in a gilded cage. Employees later recalled hearing her laughter drift down the hallway unusual, carefree, and strikingly intimate. Some even noticed her hand brushed lightly against Amazon, a fleeting gesture but damning in a workplace where whispers spread faster than memos. That night, as Bezos remained locked in a high-stakes AWS presentation, Lauren and M allegedly disappeared into his corner office. The sleek glass room overlooking Elliott Bay became the backdrop of what insiders still call the moment everything began to unravel. What happened there remains the subject of gossip and of multiple ongoing investigations. Some insiders claim Lauren and M went far beyond innocent conversation, crossing lines that could never be undone. Others argue the grainy camera footage simply caught two lonely people sharing a fleeting, awkward kiss, more human than scandalous. But regardless of interpretation, within hours, the whispers exploded into coded texts, hushed calls, and private exchanges among Amazon's top brass. By morning, Bezos' inner circle had seen the first images, and with them, the firestorm began. What started as gossip now threatened to destabilize one of the most powerful companies on the planet. Tom Anderson, the security engineer who discovered the footage, suddenly found himself in a dangerous bind. His contract explicitly forbade exposing private data about Amazon leadership. Yet burying the evidence could risk far greater damage, only to Bezos but to millions of investors worldwide. The days following the Seattle encounter were tense. Hallways grew quieter, eyes lingered longer. The alleged affair between Lauren and M was no longer mere rumor, it was backed by something far more dangerous. Digital proof. Sources inside the building whispered about Video 92, a blurry, soundless clip captured through a glass wall. Though imperfect, it appeared to reveal the most intimate moments of that secret meeting. Alongside it came still photographs, some leaked directly from the security system. Others snapped on cell phones by late-night staff who claimed to witness the encounter through the transparent office walls. Combined with hushed testimonies, this evidence ignited the corporate powder keg. Reactions split the upper floors of Amazon. Some executives dismissed it as harmless flirtation weaponized by office politics. Others called it a grave breach, a betrayal that stained the company's core values. But for Jeff Bezos, the issue was larger than betrayal. It was a test of control. To discover such disarray unfolding inside his own fortress, beneath his glass towers, under the watch of thousands of loyal staff raised questions, even he could not escape. Could he still command both empire and image? Now the figure at the center of the storm, attempted damage control. He downplayed the meeting as an innocent chat blown out of proportion. But once video and photos surfaced, his defense collapsed. He was placed on unpaid leave and immediately secured a criminal defense lawyer. By then, whispers had leaked beyond Seattle's skyline. Former employees, analysts, and reporters caught wind of the scandal. Bezos's phone rang endlessly. Friends from Malibu to Manhattan called, some with empathy, others with blunt advice. Crisis management, reputation protection, damage control. Everyone had a theory. At first, Bezos tried silence, hoping the tempest would fade. But as hours turned to days, his closest advisors grew less patient. Bill Gates called, recounting the bitter lessons of his own public scandal. Warren Buffett offered sober wisdom about safeguarding reputation in moments of chaos. Their message was consistent: reputations take a lifetime to build, but can shatter overnight. And this scandal was no longer just about marriage. It was about market trust, investor faith, and the future of Amazon itself. Every hour without action was a risk. Yet in the midst of this looming crisis, the story swerved in an unexpected direction. The man who held Bezos' empire in his hands wasn't Bill Gates or Warren Buffett. It was a quiet security engineer. Tom Anderson, the one who uncovered the tape, shocked everyone with his next move. He didn't leak it to tabloids. He didn't blackmail anyone. Instead, he walked straight into Bezos' office and laid down a full report of what really happened. And the truth changed everything. The infamous footage hadn't captured an affair at all. What looked like a stolen kiss was something far more human and far more misunderstood. After a fierce argument between Jeff and Lauren, M had found her shaken and vulnerable. Having gone through his own bitter divorce, he recognized the signs of emotional collapse. The kiss wasn't romantic. It was a brief touch on the forehead, a gesture of comfort from someone who knew the cost of suffering in silence. Digging deeper, Anderson uncovered the real culprit. A senior executive, the head of corporate relations, had deliberately twisted the footage, fueling gossip to sabotage both Lauren and M. His motive: old grudges and ambition. He envied M's rise and plotted to smear him to climb closer to power. When the truth came out, Bezos was stunned. He realized how close he had come to burning his marriage and reputation over a carefully orchestrated lie. M was cleared of wrongdoing and even promoted for his calm handling of the crisis. Lauren received a heartfelt apology from her husband, and the two agreed to rebuild trust on stronger ground. As for Anderson, the man who chose integrity over easy gain, Bezos personally honored him, handing him a leadership role in Amazon's newly formed ethics and security division. The scheming VP, meanwhile, was swiftly terminated and now faces lawsuits for defamation and violations of corporate ethics. The scandal ended with an unlikely message. Even in the cutthroat world of billionaires, human values still matter: truth, loyalty, and the courage to defend what's right. For Bezos, the lesson ran deeper than stock prices or PR. True power, he realized, isn't about micromanaging every detail. It's about knowing where to place your trust. Jeff and Lauren turned their lowest moment into a reset, setting new boundaries, learning to actually listen, and quietly rebuilding what had almost collapsed. M, once accused, became a trusted ally and family friend. His experience with recovery and resilience even inspired Amazon to draft new employee protocols for personal crises. And Bezos, his mantra of 8 hours of sleep took on new meaning. It wasn't just about rest, it became a ritual of perspective. Because in a world where lies travel faster than truth, reflection is the only way to see clearly. So when Tom Anderson finally hit delete on Amazon's servers, he wasn't erasing evidence of scandal. He was wiping away a false record planted by jealousy. The real file locked safely awaited as proof of innocence, courage, and the reminder that even in the most ruthless halls of power, honesty can still win. If you found this story powerful, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next secret I reveal is one the elite never wanted you to hear.